Well, they're a big part of our team. A lot of guys that have been out. We've managed to persevere in terms of getting to our first goal, which was to make the playoffs. So credit to the guys for that. But you know, the games get tougher now, so the more manpower you can have at your disposal, the better. Obviously, we saw some guys out there. I don't know how it'll shake out for game one, but they're with the group. Marshy had a maintenance day, so he should be fine. Huddy, similar. So, again, we're trending well in that department.
In terms of Mark, do you anticipate any setbacks where you feel like you're close to game one, you might be close to?
I wouldn't anticipate a setback, but I don't know. It could happen. He's cleared now to get out with us and have some contact, and then the final step will be to get in games, right? So we'll see how that plays out, but tomorrow will be a good test. We did some stuff down low today where there was some physicality, so see how he responds to that tomorrow.
Coming back from the spleen, like I know maybe the recovery is not the same as if it were a leg injury. Like, how does he look to you in terms of just cardio and like those kind of things?
Yeah, I don't know the recovery, to be honest, right? So it's an internal organ, so you got to be careful. But he looks like Mark Stone. His hands are excellent. His timing looks good with puck plays out there and the sort of small area stuff we're doing. His pace looks fine. He didn't just jump on the ice yesterday, right? He's been skating a little bit here, so that's probably helped him, be able to get into fast-paced practice a little better than just jumping on for the first or second time. So I think he looks good. Hopefully he gets the green light.
What does it mean to have Petrangelo back?
Well, him too. He went through some stuff. We didn't really get into it much, but so you're worried about his health as well. So, and he looked good. Now he didn't miss as much time, but he still missed time now. So he's going to have to catch up, and he plays a hard game too. So we'll see how that plays out. But we've missed him in the lineup. He's a big-time competitor. He's won 2 Stanley Cups. He's a big-time playoff minute guy. So again, it'll be nice if he's available to us as well.
Earlier at the start of the season, you kind of relied on the young guys coming in, like Paul, Pavel, kind of had more expendable. When you look at Dallas and the youth that they've infused into their lineup, do you kind of see similarities in how they impact the veteran as well?
Well, listen, we're always trying to. It helps your salary cap, right? When you have those entry-level guys or younger guys, so that's the first thing. If you can incorporate, that's just the circle of life in the NHL. So anytime you get those guys in, it's meaningful and more than just developing a guy in your own sort of system and culture and environment. We've been able to do that slowly with Paul and Pav, and Corsi was on his way a little bit this year early when we had D injuries. So and Dallas has done it with Stankoven's come in and made them a better team. Now they have depth with Dadonov and Smith. They can pick and choose how they see fit for matchups. So that always helps in the playoffs and helps you going forward. So that's what good organizations are able to do. And I don't think you can, when you're a winning team like they had, who was a Johnson last year, and now the young winger this year, and I think Harley's, but you can't do it with 10 guys and expect to have the success. It's just too hard for those young guys. So, but if you can bring a guy or two in every year along, I think it'll help your program a lot.
Bruce, you now are a full regular season through as the defending champs. What's the grind been like just to get back to this point?
Well, you've lived it with us, Ghosh. So I think you could probably, you're around the team every day. It's different lineups. It's different line combinations. It's different D pairs. More teaching probably this year than maybe we would have anticipated coming into the year with a lot of returning players. So that's on us to make sure we do a good job there. Some nights we did, other nights we needed to be better. So that's the part of the grind you probably, as a staff, we didn't expect, right? We had 2 new assistant coaches that we were probably thinking, okay, we're going to have to coach them up how we play more than the players because the players have been here. So, but at the end of the day, there was a lot of adversity and our guys handled it well. Different types of injuries. Some serious injuries where you weren't sure what was going to happen. And some of that stays in house. You guys aren't even aware. You know what I mean? Like there's stuff that goes on, and as I said, different guys coming in and out of the lineup, integrating new players at the deadline, playing key roles. So there was some newness that maybe we wouldn't have anticipated at the start, but that's the way it goes. We're here. Would we have liked to start at home? Absolutely. I think there were some points that got away, even though we had injuries, that maybe we could have, but at the end of the day, we're not. You got to go win on the road. That's the way it works in the playoffs anyway. So, like I said, I'm proud of the way the guys handled it this year. Didn't always look pretty every game, but some of that was just a product of the lack of chemistry with the group and leaning on some guys maybe a little more than you should in a regular season because other difference makers are out of the lineup. You got to remember that. There's a lot of pressure on Marshy and Jack and their line when Stoney's out or Stevie's out or Carly. You know what I mean? It spreads through the lineup. So that can be taxing on them too, both mentally and physically. So again, more of the grind, but now we're here. Let's face it, it's hard work, but it's fun. Playoffs are fun. Every team wants to be in it. They want to crack at it. So this is when I think the energy level will go up, and you forget about the grind quickly because you got another grind in front of you, with a real serious reward at the end.
What changes now? The intensity of the games, the intensity of the detail?
Well, I think attention to detail should. I think we're a veteran group where we lost some of that at times this year. Again, that's on the players to take care of that. It's on me and the staff to remind guys and coach it up. So. But I think now guys understand the value of the details of the game. I think they have a clear understanding of what our game looks like when we're on. And that's what needs to start building here, starting, game one in Dallas. And we have to get to that. Nobody's perfect in game one. We witnessed that last year. Other teams probably have gone through it. But you got to keep building and get better as the sort of series and playoffs goes on. So I think that'll be better. The energy level should be higher because of the time of the year, naturally. And because of some of the advantage of guys being out is they've missed time, so they've also had parts of their bodies are resting, the mental part maybe too, so you come in a little fresher maybe than a team without injuries in that regard, but so that's the only benefit of guys missing games is they might be a little more excited because they've missed. We'll see on that part.
What stands out to you about What stands out to you about the work Sean Burke's done with the goalies this year and just over the last couple of years? It seems like they really step up when you need them to.
Yeah, he's got a good relation with those guys. And I think this year LT's got a little different style than Hilly. Hilly's the more technically squarish. Logan has to be too, but he's maybe a little more athletic oriented. So he's got to blend their styles with how he feels the best way to play is. And then how do you integrate him with how we're playing as a decor in front? There's a lot of bodies in front of us, so goalies have to get used to that. There's not as many bang-bang plays into the slot, so that they understand the high dangers, or should be, maybe odd man rushes, a breakdown, a breakaway, 2-on-1. So, but understand where the shots are coming from, so he's had to coach that into them as well. So he's done a terrific job for us. Both goalies are progressing well. I think, like our team, they've had ups and downs this year, but I think that's as much. I think our goaltending sometimes is a reflection of how we're playing too. If we're good in front of them, they tend to, and I don't know if you can say that about every team or not. I mean, you'd have to ask them, but I think that's how I see it. So a lot of times we have to pull the goaltending along, and the goaltending has to pull us along with timely saves, not go out and win us games. So there's a little bit of that them understanding that as young guys. Hey, keep timely save, understand when we really need it. Don't get caught up in a goal against that maybe you don't like. Let's go on to the next one because we're going to score some goals. So he has to coach that mental part too. So there's a lot on his plate, even though there's only really coaching 2 or 3 players at a time.
How much of an impact, if they play, can Stone and Pietrangelo have on, like, in game, on talking on the bench about details and just overall about getting the team, like Alex just said. Our forecheck has to be, that's the way to beat Dallas and playing north-south. How much of an impact can those two guys have on getting the whole team on the same page?
Well, a lot. I mean, the coaches always have a plan. Whether that works or not, is always open to debate. But the players, when it's your peers and the peers you look up to giving you direction, your ears perk up. That's just the way it is. So we've missed some of that. In different ways, and they do it differently. But you got one at each end of the bench, right? So that will be a big plus for us. They're able to get in the lineup. I think Petro's a very vocal guy. He's good for the D back there. Stoney can be vocal, but he's more enthusiastic vocal at times too, and that guys can't help but get excited about that as well. So Yeah, we have good leaders. Like Carly's a great leader. He's quiet about it, and sometimes you need a guy to maybe vocalize what everyone's feeling internally to sort of get it out there and get going. And those two guys do it as well as anybody.
When you look at the series when you look at preparing for this series, how much are you able to look back at last year's series as you're kind of studying with Dallas, since it's pretty recent history, being able to look back at last year, what went well against Dallas as you prepare for them this
Yeah,
year?
well, I mean, Petro said it. I thought when we got to our forecheck game, we put some stress on their D is when we had probably our best success in terms of wearing them down over the course of the series, B, getting pucks back, creating offense from there, and C, it's physically and mentally draining as if you're going back and you're getting hit every time, every night by big bodies. So that part I don't think will change. I'm sure they'll be prepared for it because they saw it. A lot of same personnel if you go through kind of, I mean, I don't know who's going to play at Stankoven or Dadonov. We saw them last year. I know Smith is new, but, and Duchesne's in there now. I believe it was Domi was in that spot last year. But a lot of the Hintz line is together. Ben and Seguin are back. The D pairs might have changed a bit. Suter moving down and Harley moving up, but there's still a lot of the same six we anticipate, the goaltenders. So for us, there is a lot of looking back on it. And that's because we came out on top. I think our guys will feel good about that. There'll be some positive vibes, and because we had success early this year against them. But there's a lot of close games, with the exception of Game 6 and the last game we played them, they could have gone either way. So I think that's what they're looking at. Like they got to make the extra play to make it go their way. How they play, their style, not a lot has changed. I think they're playing it better. So we got to be on top of our game. I think they are generating more on the rush this year. That probably has to do, Duchesne's a pretty good hockey player with making plays than maybe a year ago if the stats may or may not back that up. But in general, I still think they have similar styles. They're going to direct a lot of pucks to the net with tips and screens. They're very good at that. They're probably the best team in the league at deflection. Pavelski himself must be easily in the top three in that area. So there's certain things we accounted for last year we'll have to do again this year. But you got to get it done on the ice, right? To say, well, we know what they may or may not do. You still got to execute, the game plan and your play on the ice.
We asked you early this year, Bruce, we saw Dallas, what the difference was. You thought you got down the middle last year. You would be 4 centers now there, and that potentially tip the scales again.
Well, it could. I mean, they said, like I said, Duchesne is a really good player, and now you got Hintz, Johnson. They can all drive a line offensively. They're good 200-foot players. Their fourth line is excellent as well at what they're asked to do. So, that's an area I still think last year we had over most teams, and I believe if they're at the top of their games, we should have it again this year. And that's no disrespect to any team we're going to see. We just feel that that's a real strength of our team. Every team has some areas they're probably better than their opposition. I like our center depth. I'm sure they like theirs too. So that should make for a great series right there, the head-to-head matchups between the center icemen.